Here we go. It's Jesus Christ versus Jesus Christ again! Alright, if you're a Nintendo fan, this is often a question you hear all the time. Which is better, Mario Galaxy 1 or Mario Galaxy 2? I think it's tricky because these both, like, at the end of the day, are 10 out of 10 video games, and they're so similar to each other, yet they do enough things differently where it's a genuinely pretty interesting conversation to have. You can definitely judge a person's character immediately if they say they like Galaxy 1 or 2 more. There's definitely two different types of people in this world, and both are fucking epic! Because whether you like Galaxy 1 or 2 more, who the hell cares? These are both some of the greatest games ever created. Now, of course, you know, throughout the years, I've made it obvious I am more of a Galaxy 1 job. I actually didn't really get to Galaxy 2 until years down the line. I'd say the first time I truly tried Galaxy 2 was like 2013. And then I fully sat down and played through the game from start to finish around early 2018. So I definitely have a bit of a different experience with this game compared to this one. This one, I get little, oh, baby boy nostalgia overload because I played this when I was a kid. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. But Super Mario Galaxy is one of those games that it doesn't matter how many years pass. Like, I don't really see any new flaws with this game. Yes, I can definitely criticize it, I guess. It definitely has a couple of things where I'd go like, yeah, you know, that's not the greatest thing in the world. But I mean, imagine heaven, if you will. There's gotta be at least one person there that smells like shit. It doesn't make the experience any less awesome. You just have to accept the fact that there's always gonna be little things about the perfect thing that make it imperfect. But that doesn't make the imperfect thing any less perfect. Okay, let's just move on. My experience with Mario Galaxy 1. I believe I actually got this game around 2008. I think I picked this up with a GameStop gift card that I was given for my birthday. I don't remember having any experience with Mario Galaxy prior to this moment. I definitely remember seeing some commercials on TV. There was that specific one that was playing off of the We Would Like to Play commercial line where the guys from the Wii commercials went into a movie theater and they played Mario Galaxy in the movie theater. And I remember as a kid seeing Mario flying through space, oh man, that's something I should surely be able to control. Of course, I kind of got what I was expecting there. You do get the power-up in this game, which is the red star, which oddly enough turned out to be one of the best Mario flying power-ups. Like, you get full control of Mario flying around, and it feels good. It's not like, you know, like the wind cap in Mario 64 is a little funky to control, but the red star in Mario Galaxy, oh my God, it's so easy to control, and it's barely fucking in the game. That pissed me off when I was a kid. Still pisses me off kind of to this day. I mean, like, I just wanted to fly in this game, and you could in like what, like 2 areas? For the most part, flying in Mario Galaxy, at least like as it looks here, is kind of just represented via a cutscene. It's kind of just a way for you to get from one planet to another. So that was one thing I didn't like about the game when I was a kid. Another thing, the beeping sound that plays when you're low on health, that could take a hike. Yeah, I think those are the main 2 things I didn't like about this game as a kid, which is pretty damn impressive. I mean, like, I really loved this game, and it was just a complete shot in the dark for me to pick it up. I mean, yeah, you know, I knew Mario. I enjoyed Mario games throughout the years. To be fair, now I'm kind of remembering, I definitely think I watched, like, the IGN video review of it back in the day. I believe it got, like, a 9.7 out of 10, and the game looked gorgeous. But to be frank, I mean, like, I didn't know any of my friends who played this game. I just thought, you know what? Yep, that seems like the Wii game to pick up. And damn it, luck was in my favor. Because honestly, I think it was between this and like SpongeBob's Atlantis Square fucking Panis for Wii. Thank God I didn't buy that game here. Thank not God I did buy that game eventually anyways. Mario Galaxy 1 is such a magical feeling game. It feels so epic. I mean, even from the very start of the game, when you're going to the Star Festival, the music, the visuals, it just feels so impactful. Like you're actually like experiencing a Mario movie back in 2007 on the Wii. This game just nails a cinematic feel without overdoing it, you know? I mean, like, the 3D Mario that preceded this, Super Mario Mario Sunshine was cinematic in its own stupid fucking way. That game focused on having more like cutscenes and voice acting, and this by comparison has more of the traditional Mario voice acting you kind of come to expect. But when it comes to the tone and the visuals and the cutscenes, it just hits you in the back of the head and goes, pay attention to me, bitch. You're meant to take things seriously, but it doesn't overdo it. The only game I can think about that I can compare in this sense is, think about Sonic Frontiers. I like Sonic Frontiers, and they definitely go for a much more serious story here. And I like it, but if you don't give a damn about the story in a Sonic game, holy crap is that game gonna annoy you. That is definitely an example of just beating you over the head going like, hey, pay attention to our story. And especially when most of the cutscenes are very stilted and not very interesting to look at, yeah, like it can definitely get a little overbearing at times. Mario Galaxy 1, I feel like has this really good balance of like giving you enough to chew on here, but if you don't give a damn about it and you just want to play a fun Mario game, I mean, like, you can just kind of ignore it. Most of these cutscenes are over within, like, 5 minutes. And a lot of the lore and bigger story beats kind of reside in Rosalina's storybook in the Comet Observatory. And that is often pointed to as one of the reasons why people love Mario Galaxy 1, especially compared to 2. Galaxy 1 takes itself incredibly seriously, but not too seriously to the point that it's just like, all right, buddy. It still knows it's a goofy little Mario game, and it doesn't forget that. I mean, like, once you get past all the crazy shit that happens in the beginning, where Bowser literally rips the entirety of Peach's castle out of the ground, you get fucking Kamek coming in, and he makes this giant fucking ear-piercing screech, and then blasts you away. After all that, you're like fucking crawling all over a giant bee. I don't know. It's still Mario, but it adds this layer of importance or just epic feeling that is not overbearing, but it doesn't feel like it's trying too hard to do that. It honestly just grabs your attention as the player and makes you realize like, oh shit, I need to pay attention to this. It's not asking you to pay attention to it. Like, it instinctually makes me as a player, like, hooked onto it, just like, oh, damn, I'm invested into this. Now, the ending of the story is pretty much the exact same as other Mario games. Like, you save Peach. Whoa. But they do this old thing where a black hole engulfs everything, and then Rosalina appears as kind of like a god. And she says, like, yeah, the universe is going to repeat. There are going to be some slight differences, but, like, this is a new beginning for, this universe. Don't look at it as an end. And, they all wake up next to Peach's castle again. And, yeah, I guess that's why, like, Mario Galaxy 2 is basically sort of a retelling of Galaxy 1, but with differences, like Rosalina doesn't really appear much in this one. Your guide in this one is, fucking Lubba. But, Galaxy 1's end does kind of lead into Galaxy 2, even if it is a bit anticlimactic. That's something that a lot of people don't really like about Galaxy 2, is the fact that it kind of trims the fat and it's just basically like a retelling of Galaxy 1. But, when you consider how Galaxy 1 ended, it makes sense, but again, it is kind of like, okay. You can also make the argument after you beat Galaxy 1 and that story ends, you unlock Luigi and then you can play through Galaxy 1 as Luigi, which also plays into what Rosalina said there, where it's just like, yeah, it's a repeat of the original universe, but with some minor changes. But anyway, yeah, back to what I really like about Galaxy 1. Everything. The hub world, the Comet Observatory, it just feels like you're in this luxurious outdoor space mansion. Now, of course, looking at it these days, there's not a ton to like mess around with here. I wouldn't really put it in the sandbox kind of category that like Peach's Castle or Isle Delfino kind of felt like in Mario 64 and Sunshine respectively. But it is a cool hub world. I don't think all hub worlds need to be like something to jump around in and just explore to your heart's content. I remember as a kid enjoying just walking around it and, just looking at all the different rooms and all of that. But, when you strip it down to just like what it is at the end of the day, there's not a ton to do there, but like I love the overall aesthetic and feel of the Comet Observatory. I love how more of it becomes available throughout the game. Of course, that is every hub world in existence, but, I digress. But it is fundamentally just here to get you from place to place in a contextually sound way. Which brings us to Galaxy 1's levels, which as a kid, I always considered Galaxy 1 to be in the same vein as something like a Super Mario 64 or Sunshine. I definitely didn't fully comprehend how linear this game truly is. You know, it feels kind of like a fake linear, something where the level looks big enough and there's enough little offshoot areas to go and do something else, but for the most part, it is basically just a straight shot from start to finish. It's pretty obvious where you need to go and what you need to do. There's not a lot of room for creativity here. This is a linear experience, which is not a bad thing. I do feel like around the time period between, let's say, Skyward Sword in 2011 and Breath of the Wild in 2017, I feel like the word linear was almost seen as like a bad word with video games. Like, oh, that's linear. I want to be able to do whatever I want, wherever I want. And yeah, that's great. But linearity is far from a bad thing. It's just a different type of experience. And I honestly feel like we're getting to a point with video games these days where non-linear experiences are kind of overtaking things, where I'm kind of like, okay guys, like it's really cool that I can do this in any way I want, but there is something to be said about like a fully crafted from point A to point B experience. And that's what Mario Galaxy is. But what I really like is the fact that it doesn't really feel like it's this super linear experience. I look at this very fondly about the fact that like when I would go into the Honey Hive Galaxy as a kid, like it didn't feel like, oh yeah, I just got to get to the end. Like no, there was all these different areas to explore and different things to do. Yeah, it wasn't as grand as something like the Bob-omb Battlefield or something from Mario 64, but it felt like it back then. But to be honest, a lot of these levels that kind of invoke that larger world feel from 64 are a bit few and far between in Galaxy. For the most part, a lot of the stages are pretty straightforward. A lot of it comes down to do a thing on this planetoid, then a launch star appears. You use that to go to another planetoid and do a similar thing. Rinse, repeat until you get to the power star at the end of that certain mission. Galaxy's vibe, tone, and presentation definitely give this feeling that what you're doing is far bigger and grander than what it really is at the end of the day. Again, that's not a bad thing. It's more so me looking at how I viewed this game as a kid compared to how I view it now. And how I view it now is I still absolutely love this game. Walking around the spherical planets in Galaxy still feels magical. It still feels like, oh my gosh, like this works incredibly well for being so potentially disorienting. And I love what they did with Mario's moveset to compensate for that. With all the gravity effects in this game and, you know, like I said, walking, you know, on the bottom of certain planets, you know, they gave Mario a spin attack, which is kind of like a mid-air twirl where you can not only attack enemies, but also kind of correct your jump before you land. And oh my god, it just feels great. The fact that you flick the Wii Remote to do that, it sounds like it would get very tiring, but I honestly feel like that really adds to just the overall feel of this game. Flicking your Wii Remote and the timing of that occurring in the game, they made it just feel perfect. So much so that when they brought this game over to the Nintendo Switch with 3D All-Stars, I don't really like playing this game by hitting the Y button to spin. I don't know, man. I just feel like this game is perfect with the Wii Remote and nunchuck. But who's perfect at the end of the day? Yeah, this game has a couple of little stinky implementations of the Wii Remote's motion controls. Pretty much anybody will say that. Like, these are kind of like the lower points of Galaxy. I wouldn't say they're bad. More so, they're the easiest to criticize. You know, you have the ball rolling game and you have the manta ray game. And, yeah, I can't necessarily, like, overly defend these. I don't hate them at all. I don't dislike them, really. And I just don't really feel like they're, like, poorly implemented or the motion controls don't work with them. I think the problem is they don't need to be there. And you know what's another criticism I have about this game? And, you know, this is a little, this might be a little spicier. This game has one of the best soundtracks of all time. Or should I say, half of it? Half of the soundtrack is some of the greatest orchestrated music ever composed for a video game. For, hell, any piece of media, really. Like, it's all incredible. But that just makes the other half of the soundtrack, which is not orchestrated, just kind of stick out a little more. It's not like it's bad music or anything, but I do feel like Galaxy 1's soundtrack is held in like such a high regard, and for good reason, but I honestly kind of think if you want the better overall soundtrack, I think Galaxy 2 has the better overall soundtrack. Hell, I would even say something like, let's say Mario 3D World soundtrack. I think Galaxy 1 has higher highs, but I think like something like a 3D World soundtrack is a little more like consistent all the way through. But when I say this has higher highs, I'm saying like this has some of the most impactful video game music out there in it. Keep in mind, at this time, Nintendo games didn't really have orchestrated music in them, especially the Zelda games. You know, we had to wait till Skyward Sword hit for Zelda games to get like a fully orchestrated soundtrack. Now, pretty much any AAA Nintendo release comes with an orchestrated soundtrack, and like, you know, that's one of the most exciting things about a new Nintendo release is hearing like how good the new music is. And I think Galaxy 1 deserves all the credit for really setting the standard for what Nintendo's music can be from there on out. But half the soundtrack is this, and it's not bad, but it's also like, you know, half the soundtrack is stuff that sounds like this. So it's just like the whole thing isn't built the same. Now, graphically, it's pretty insane how well Super Mario Galaxy not only holds up, but how well it looked back when it first released. In 2007, like, genuinely the only thing holding Mario Galaxy back was its resolution. I mean, how this game looks in 3D All-Stars, they didn't even do anything to it. They just upped the resolution. I mean, like, this is just how the game looks, and it still looks phenomenal. So I would say, even though it released on the Wii, Mario Galaxy is definitely up there as one of the prettiest games from the 7th generation. And that's even considering Xbox 360 and PS3 games. Of course, like, I sound a little ridiculous saying that. That's definitely my little Nintendo brain rot mind talking. But I don't think it's that far off. I think aesthetically, artistically, this game is incredible. Now, let's talk power-ups. This is another thing that you could potentially criticize Mario Galaxy on. It's not that the power-ups are bad, more so they're just pretty underwhelming. You ever feel like power-ups for any new Mario game are just kind of come up with at random? The main headliner of this game? Bee Mario. It's a fucking game about space, and your main power-up is a fucking bumblebee. There's not really a ton Bee Mario can do other than hover for a little bit of time. I mean, Bee Mario just kind of feels like just another version of the exact same power-up we've gotten like time and time again from Mario games. It's just the new hover power-up. That's all it is. I think this might have actually been the first time we got Fire Mario in 3D, but we also got Ice Mario, which actually performs completely differently from the Fire Mario power-up. Fire Mario acts pretty similarly to how Fire Mario works in the 2D games, except this time it is a timed power-up. And then Ice Mario, you don't throw ice balls, you can just walk on water. Boo Mario is fairly interesting. You turn into a Boo and you can turn invisible. You can go through certain walls. And Spring Mario, I mean, kind of sucks. Yeah, you can bounce higher, but it's meant to be awkward. It's not a particularly great feeling power-up. And then you have the Red Star, which is a very good power-up that is not utilized at all. Boo. I don't think the power-ups in Mario Galaxy 1 are bad per se, but compared to Mario Galaxy 2, it feels like these are pretty pedestrian. Mario Galaxy 2 has a great variety of power-ups. Some of the best power-ups in the entire Mario franchise are in this game. I mean, not only do we have Yoshi, but then multiple variants of Yoshi. Pretty much Yoshi has his own suite of power-ups. You have the Dash Pepper, the Bulb Berry, the Blimp Fruit, and it's already great controlling Yoshi. I mean, you can use the pointer to select things to eat with your tongue. You get the extra jump height. I mean, Yoshi is such a natural and great addition to the game, and it's just made even better by the extra little power-ups that are included alongside him. But then Mario has some actual new power-ups in this game. I think the best one 100% is the Cloud Flower. Makes it then you can jump and then create your own platform. I really want to see this power-up in more games. I'd love to see it in a 2D Mario game. And then you have the Rock Mushroom, which turns you into Rock Mario, where you just pretty much turn into this giant boulder and you can just bulldoze down anything. Then pretty much all the Mario Galaxy 1 power-ups come back, except for the Ice Flower. Whatever. I would say Galaxy 2 has the far better suite of power-ups. Not only do you get basically everything from Galaxy 1, but all the Mario Galaxy 2 power-ups are just better utilized. They're more fun in this game. But outside of the power-ups, we also have boss battles in Mario Galaxy, which I adore them. I mean, there's so many memorable boss fights, and there's so much fun to replay. It's like whenever I go through Mario Galaxy 1 again, and whenever one of the boss fights come up, I'm just like reminded how awesome they are and how awesome it feels to take them down. I mean, I just love using the spin attack to take down these enemies. Like one of the first boss fights in the game, the Dino Piranha, I mean, just using your spin attack to whack his tail back at him and then just seeing it kind of ricochet, it's just so satisfying. You have King Caliente and just the lava effects. I mean, a lot of what I love about the boss fights here is the visual design. All adds up to just this epic, incredible feeling. Then the boss fights themselves, design-wise, I think these are like some of the most interesting boss fights of its era. I mean, I'm thinking Bouldergeist, where you have to swing these ghosts back and forth to then crack down this like weird ghostly apparition that's like covered in rock. There's Megaleg, where you have to climb up his body and attract the bullet bills all around to just aim at Megaleg's head. And oh my god, the Bowser boss battles in this game. Oh my god, I mean, they're all practically the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, they get like progressively more intricate as time goes on, but the first Bowser battle is, you know, fairly similar to the last Bowser battle. However, it's incredible. I love the boss battles with Bowser in Mario Galaxy. The music with the choir coming in and just doing the chants and oh my god, just whacking Bowser and just feeling like you see kind of like this little freeze frame delay. Just this one frame of just like, you know, when you hit him, it just like everything freezes for a split second and it feels so impactful. Oh my god. I remember when I was a kid, when I finally beat Mario Galaxy, I ran downstairs and I told my mom, not that she cared or knew what the hell I was talking about, but like I felt like I needed to tell somebody. Like this was an incredible moment that I just experienced. This right here, I think will always be my favorite game of all time. I settled on that years ago. I was just like, yep, this is my favorite game right here, Mario Galaxy 1, which it's surprising to me that it took me so long to get into Mario Galaxy 2. Of course, like when I look back at the time frame here, it didn't take that long, you know, like I played a good chunk of it like 3 years after it released. Then 5 years later, I finally played through the whole thing. So, you know, it took me 8 years, but still. And I already covered a bit of it as I was going on my Galaxy 1 spiel, but let's go over what makes Galaxy 2 unique, and then we'll kind of quickly go through the categories that I think are necessary to compare these two against each other with. Galaxy 2 was announced at E3 2009, and this was the first time we had ever gotten a full-blown sequel to a 3D Mario game. Not only like a full-blown sequel, but one on the exact same console, the Wii. Pretty crazy. The E3 this was announced at, we already got the announcement of new Super Mario Bros. Wii heading to the Wii in 2009. And then in May 2010, we got Mario Galaxy 2. Listen, man, it's completely fair to kind of get these two mixed up sometimes. I mean, like, if you just see, like, footage of Mario Galaxy 2, if you didn't know any better, you would just say that that's just Mario Galaxy, because they really didn't change much. I mean, you have the exact same base moveset for Mario. Looks the exact same. They pull some stuff from Galaxy 1 and it's just in Galaxy 2. Like, you know, it's completely fair to get these two kind of like mixed up, but Galaxy 2, as similar as it is to Galaxy 1, it's honestly kind of like Galaxy 1, but you know, a bit of a different flavor. While Galaxy 1 was pretty linear, Galaxy 2 was pretty linear. This takes far more cues from 2D Mario this time around. I mean, like, you start off and like the game starts in 2D. Then on your hub world, Starship Mario, you have to go up and then you access a world map where you go on a linear straight line and you select the galaxy you want to go to that way. Hell, they're all divided up into worlds, just like in regular 2D Mario games. You can tell the direction for this game was a lot more just, hey, let's just give the player some incredible Mario levels. And I can respect that, especially because like Galaxy 1 already kind of gave us a more story-driven Mario game, even though like I'm using that term fairly loosely. I will admit it does feel a little lame that they're doing basically Galaxy 1 again, but way less interesting and epic. It's literally just, hey, okay, the Peach gets kidnapped again. Okay, Mario's in space, great. But again, you know, that kind of goes along with the ending of Galaxy 1, so whatever. Also, spoilers, at the end of this, it's revealed that, like, Rosalina is reading the story of Mario Galaxy 2. Like, everything that happened, like, at the very beginning of Galaxy 2, like, the whole tutorial stage is played out like it's a storybook. So the more truncated story can be chalked up to, what about, like, Rosalina is telling the story of Mario Galaxy 1 to a bunch of fucking babies, and she didn't want to be a narcissist, so she replaced her in the story with this fucking guy. I don't know. I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is the gameplay, and my god, Mario Galaxy 2 is firing at all cylinders at all times. I don't think there's a single level in this game that's, like, lame as hell. Now, I wouldn't even consider there to be lame as hell levels in Galaxy 1. However, you know, there are levels that you can definitely make the argument for. Now, Galaxy 2 is always just like, hey, here is some amazing level idea. One of the greatest platforming level ideas you've ever seen. Yeah, it's like one of the stages in this game. And then the next level after that is just even better. It's like Galaxy 1 was created as this fine piece of art. And you know, like, art is very much like, hey, like, you're gonna add elements there that, like, oh, not everybody may like, but, like, it creates this full package. And then Galaxy 2 is like this 300-piece variety firework pack. Like, this is easier to appreciate as a work of art. This is just fucking fun, which undermines how good this game is in all regards. But, like, yeah, like, Galaxy 2 is just all about fun, the best fucking platforming that you've ever played. It feels like they made a conscious effort to make this kind of like your ultimate platforming video game. I mean, they definitely went above and beyond to ensure that, like, there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. I mean, most stages have a comet medal that you can collect, sort of this game's equivalent of like a star coin from New Super Mario Brothers or something. But these are linked to like those prankster comets that would kind of randomly appear in Galaxy 1. Now it's a lot less random because they're more so tied to the comet medals. So if you want to 100% the game, you can go for the comet medals, but then after you get all the stars, a ton of green stars appear. And yeah, this is definitely up for debate as to like how much you like this, because this could get to certain levels of like insanity. Pretty much what? You get 120 stars in Galaxy 2, and then 120 green stars appear. You. The green stars are more so just like, hey, go replay the levels and just try to find them. Some people may view this as just an extra suite of content, just more stuff to do in one of the best games of all time. Others may find this to be very tedious, especially considering you have to get all of the green stars to get the final super challenging level in Galaxy 2. To be honest, I'm not that into the green stars. I just kind of find that my favorite thing about Galaxy 2 is how incredible the level design is. And the green stars don't super take advantage of that. They're just kind of hidden stars in very well-designed, very linear levels. I don't really like how they're pretty much considered like regular power stars, where when you collect them, you get booted out of the level and then you have to go back in it to get the other green stars. But I don't hate them or anything. I never got 120 green stars. Maybe someday I'll go through and 100% Mario Galaxy 2, but that was just a little too much for me at the time when I was playing through Galaxy 2. But yeah, other than all of that, I mean, like, the only way you're really going to be able to compare Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is kind of just going beat for beat, talking about a bunch of the different levels in Galaxy 2, and just be like, oh yeah, this is really good. This is really good. This is really good. At the end of the day, these are both similar games, but Galaxy 2 still kind of has its own feel. Aesthetically, they go for more of this blue sky background instead of like focusing so much on space. Most of the levels don't even really feel like they take place in space. It just kind of feels like it's just whatever the hell made sense. I mean, Galaxy 2 feels like they use the fact that the game takes place in space as an excuse to just do whatever the f it wants. Whereas Galaxy 1, it's like the aesthetic of this game. Yes, many of the galaxies are kind of like more abstract, or they take place in like God knows what. But Galaxy 2 takes that concept and just rolls with it. I mean, like, it just does whatever the hell it wants. And that's kind of what we want to talk about here, you know, like, what is better? You know, I got 3 categories here. I decided on these: presentation, content, and legacy. You know, you may be like, oh, what about gameplay? These both have the exact same goddamn gameplay. We're gonna wrap that up in the content section. So let's talk about presentation. Like I originally said, both of these games look exactly the same. Soundtrack-wise, Galaxy 2's soundtrack is a very similar quality to Galaxy 1's. These both have immaculate soundtracks. But like I said, I do feel like Galaxy 1's soundtrack is constantly seen as like one of the greatest of all time, which it deserves, but half of it is kind of a bunch of like beep beep boop boop fucking traditional Mario sounding ass things, whereas like another half of it is like this sweeping orchestra that everybody constantly compliments Galaxy on. Galaxy 2 has a far greater variety in terms of its soundtrack. I mean, I'm immediately thinking of like Yoshi Star Galaxy, Puzzle Plank Galaxy. But then you have something like the main theme of Galaxy 2, which does invoke those Galaxy 1 vibes, but I feel like they utilize the orchestra in Galaxy 2 to do a far greater variety of tracks compared to Galaxy 1. As impactful as Galaxy 1's soundtrack is, I honestly do think Galaxy 2's soundtrack may be better, even though like I do think Galaxy 1 has definitely more iconic tracks. That's not to take away how incredible some of the tracks are in Galaxy 2. Like, this has some of my favorite video game songs of all time. As much as I love Galaxy 1's music, I feel like, one, a lot of it is a little overplayed, and two, I feel like half the soundtrack isn't at the same level as the other half. However, I would consider story to be a part of the presentation category. And yeah, I just feel like Galaxy 1 just sweeps the floor with this one. I mean, the story is nothing crazy in Galaxy 1. It's the same Mario story that we've all heard countless times at this point. But isn't that what you want? You want that traditional story, but with a bit of a twist, you know, like it's obvious that things are different even though things are the same. It isn't in your face, but it's there if you want it. Galaxy 2, on the other hand, I mean, like, yeah, obviously a lot of people may like the fact that it's just the story, just get in and go. But the story is still there in Galaxy 2. If they really wanted to, they could have made it genuinely like, yeah, fuck it, get in and go. Why do we need this fucking thing? It's like they cared about the story enough to like contextualize a bunch of this stuff. Like for some reason they felt like they had to set it up, so then like there is still like a chunk of cutscenes and like dialogue you have to go through in Galaxy 2. So the fact of like being like, oh, Galaxy 2 doesn't have any story. No, it does. But like it kind of makes a lot of the dialogue you have to sift through, which isn't a lot, but it's still like there. It kind of makes it even more in your face than Galaxy 1's. Like I'm like, hey, if you don't care about story this much, why is there so much story going on? And as much as I do appreciate the variety in Galaxy 2, just how it goes all over the place, I honestly really like just the theming of Galaxy 1. I think it just leaves that much more of an impact with you. You know, when you walk away from either one of these games, Galaxy 1, I feel like I just experienced something, you know, like it's like, wow, what a piece of art that was so incredibly fun. Galaxy 2, I just kind of walk away from that and go like, hot damn, that was good. And let's not take away from how like good that is to have a product right here that makes me feel that way. But yeah, when you walk away from this, like, I just feel like I feel something. I'm giving presentation to Galaxy 1. Next up is content. Which of these games has the richest just amalgamation of content? And, yeah, you know, I think Galaxy 2 probably wins this one. I mean, Galaxy 1 has a ton of stuff to do in it, but its idea of what do you do after you 100% the game, you 100% it again just as Luigi, who is barely any different from Mario. They don't even change up the levels in Mario Galaxy 1 where you're trying to save Luigi. When you're playing as Luigi, after you beat the game as Mario, you're playing as Luigi, saving fucking Luigi. And then the final level you get for completing the game as Mario, completing the game as Luigi, it's just you're going through the Star Festival again, collecting a bunch of purple coins. It's really nothing that special. It's a cute little thing for the end of the game, but it's not necessarily like anything all too groundbreaking. It's kind of just like a little celebratory victory lap. By comparison, Galaxy 2 not only has a far more engaging post-game, but it has just straight up a lot more to it when it comes to the wide array of levels it has. Galaxy 1 has a lot of galaxies with multiple stars stars to get in them, which kind of involved doing the exact same rigmarole, you know, multiple times in a row. And you have a lot of prankster comets, which are basically just challenge mode stars. Galaxy 2 has a wider variety of levels. There's only like a couple of stars per galaxy in this one, which means you just straight up get more galaxies in this game. You don't have fewer galaxies with more missions in them. You know, with the galaxies being more linear, it gives you a lot more visual variety and more just potential for new shit to show up. And then when it comes to the post game, I may have said I wasn't that into the green stars, but you know, when you compare the green stars to just playing the whole game again as Luigi, I think the green stars are a little more interesting. I mean, the green stars are genuinely like playing the levels in a different way. You know, it's not that different, but it's definitely better than just play through the game twice. And then the final level you get for completing everything is one tough as nails final level. It's an actual designed level, not just the Star Festival. So overall, I think Galaxy 2 wins out on content. But that leaves us with the final category, which is Legacy. Which one of these left a bigger impact overall? Yeah, I mean, Galaxy 1 is the one Nintendo always refers to when they're talking about, like, oh, Mario games throughout the years. This one isn't acknowledged as much, which is a shame, but Galaxy 1 makes more sense. You know, if you're gonna acknowledge either or, it makes sense to acknowledge Galaxy 1. I mean, when it comes to things that introduced to the Mario universe, I mean, take a look at this, okay? Introduced Rosalina, introduced fucking Lubba. Who are you seeing more often these days? It also comes to like the music in Galaxy 1. I felt like it left a bigger impact, even though Galaxy 2 soundtrack is phenomenal. There's far more Galaxy 1 references in future Mario media compared to Galaxy 2 references. To be fair, I mean, like, if there's a Galaxy 1 reference, you could kind of shoehorn Galaxy 2 in there, like, oh wow, they referenced Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 here. They referenced the Mario Galaxy series. How about that? But yeah, I feel like this one's pretty cut and dry. Galaxy 1 left a bigger impact, even if Galaxy 2 pretty much is like a victory lap for the impact that Galaxy 1 left. This game left such a big impact that they had to do a Galaxy 2 because, like, I mean, it's just the appropriate thing to do. So yeah, just via those three categories, I do think Galaxy 1 still wins out. I think this is overall like the more impactful artistic game, something that I can look at as a work of art. Galaxy 2 is a work of art in its own right, but it kind of feels like Galaxy 1, the developers wanted to create an experience, and Galaxy 2, they wanted to create the most fun Mario game they could possibly create. And you know what? I think they succeeded at both. This duology right here may just be one of the greatest duologies in video game history. Even if I do prefer Galaxy 1, who fucking cares? These are both masterpieces. I adore these games. So don't take this personally when I go, fuck that game, this one's better.